Hello, my friends. Katie Day with the Movement to Texas team down here in Houston, Texas, here with another episode of the Real Advice podcast. I am very excited to welcome this week's guest to the podcast. He is an entrepreneur, public speaker, real estate agent. He's a published author, coach, investor, and he says that he is a mediocre golfer. Haven't heard if that is actually true or not, but he is an awesome coach. I'm fortunate to know him through our brokerage and have been on many calls with him. And he's always spitting tons of real estate knowledge. Very excited to dig in this week with him on a podcast. So please join me in welcoming Erik Hatch.
Oh, that was a nice introduction, Katie. Thank you. And folks, you have to pardon my voice. I got food poisoning down in Mexico. I threw up so much I wrenched my vocal cords. And so usually I'm a sweet baritone, but now you're gonna have to listen to this like scratchy smoker woman voice that I have.
I was gonna say smoker man, but smoker woman works too. So
I had this like old bus driver lady who talked like this. So that's what I just go to this flashback of me in elementary school, the lady being like, sit in your seat, honey. And so that's
where did you grow up?
A little place called Fargo, North Dakota. And then I ventured to Fargo, North Dakota, and I've lived in Fargo, North Dakota my whole life. Yeah.
But she was like a New Jersey smoker, it sounds like.
In my memory, she was. Yeah.
Okay. Cool, man. Well, so for those people that may not know you, tell me a little bit kind of about yourself and how you got into real estate.
Here's what matters most is I'm married to an amazing woman, have 2 kids, 7 and 5, and I do everything I can for my family. My background is in ministry. I spent about 10 years in the ministry before I got into real estate, and got into real estate to support my family more. And turns out that I found a great way to live out my calling and to continue to try to serve and to do good. Grew a really big business right away, and then it crashed and burned, and all my team members but 2 left me, and I got kicked out of a brokerage, and I was just a flaming dumpster fire of a mess, and rebuilt from there and built a pretty substantial moving real estate team. And now we just finished up 2021. We sold 1,021 houses that year. And Fargo, North Dakota, the market we serve is 250,000 people. So a little bit different than Houston, because you can throw a rock at 250,000 people in Houston. But instead, we sold 1,021 houses. We have about a 10% market share. I spend about 12 hours of my week with my real estate team serving as CEO, but I haven't been in production for about 7.5 years. And then I spend the rest of my time coaching and trying to help spread the word of how to be better for your clients, better for your community, and certainly better for your business and your family.
I have so many things that I want to unpack from just that little statement. One, sorry about the food poisoning. That is always rough. So
you know what?
Glad you're on the mend.
I'm always trying to find a way to lose a pound or 2. So I guess drinking the water and eating the produce is a great way to cut the corner on that. Like I don't have to exercise now because I'm just throwing up everywhere. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, no, that's silver lining, man. I appreciate you always looking for that in every situation. Also, absolutely. I guess you've like learned how to do Mexico right, I guess is now, kind of the flip side of that coin.
Yeah, well, if doing Mexico is right by sitting in my room, I was down in Tulum, Mexico, which is so fantastic. But we're at this place called Habitat. So it's like you're in the middle of a jungle staying in a glorified tent. It's glamping is what it is. And so I want you to imagine being alone in Mexico glamping, and the only bathroom you have is like outside in the middle of the jungle, and you're just sitting in this room with no phone, no anything, and you're just trying not to die. So yeah, if that was doing Mexico right, I really cracked the code.
Yeah, cool. Well, let's get into real estate. I'm sure people want to hear about your bodily functions and things like that, but we'll dig into real estate. So 10% market share in Fargo. I mean, that's awesome. How quickly did it take y'all to get to that point? Because I know that like the 1,000 home mark, billion, like there's all of these like markers in real estate that people are shooting for. And I think, units is, I guess first, what's your average price point in Fargo?
Yeah, it's so funny because people who have a high average price point will talk about their volume. People who have a low average price point will talk about their units. Yeah. So our average sales price is about $260,000.
Well, and so like, yeah, Houston in a normal year is around that mark, right? Now we're closer to the 350 and 370 mark, right? But so when people are like, oh, well, you only sold this, I'm like, yeah, but we still did this many units. Like,
Uh-huh.
so I hear you on that.
So we passed $1 billion in sales early in 2021. Next month we'll pass our 6,000th closing as a company since 2014. So we've ramped up really quickly. I
Yeah.
got into real estate full time in 2011. So my first year as a realtor, I was solo, didn't do any marketing, advertising. I just worked with my SOI, and I sold 52 houses, and so I had a really great first year. I had a part-time admin that worked with me, and then I grew a team because that's what you're supposed to do, I guess, is grow a team. And so I hired a bunch of people, and I'm like, oh, they can pick up my scraps, and I'll buy these internet leads for them, and all is going to work out. And boy, it sure didn't. We sold 192 houses that year, and I was 113 of those 192 transactions. So I found great success for my own personal business, but I failed to help other people to become successful, which isn't success. I think a lot of real estate teams, Katie, have one or two people with really great success and everybody else like trying to figure out how they're going to pay their bills. And I don't think that's a great model. And so in 2013, the mess that I had created came back and bit me in the butt, and I got kicked out of my brokerage. And I thought, man, this is the dumbest brokerage on earth. How dare they let go of their golden boy, Erik Hatch. And
oh, that was you. Okay.
Yeah. And so I went back to my team. I'm like, guys, I got kicked out, but I'm going to this other place. It was my rebound girlfriend brokerage that I was going to. I'm going to this other place. And why don't you come with me? And of the 13 people that I invited, 2 said yes, and everybody else said no. I'm like, oh, I'm the problem. Oh, son of a gun. Like I've been doing this all wrong.
Yeah.
And so many people will say, man, if I had a chance to do it over again, what would I do differently? And I had a chance to do it over again. And I built a different model, and I changed the scope of how I was going to operate in real estate. And we found amazing success. The retention that we have in the last 3 years, I have lost 1 producer. I mean, it's pretty staggering. I have agents on my team that are selling between 100 and 130 homes a year on a real estate team, choosing to share in the load of responsibility and in the commission, even though they'll be massively successful without me, because we've really, I think, cracked the code on this leadership game and this business model that so many people struggle to find their way to.
So what would be, not unpacking the entire business plan, because I don't think we have time for that, but what would be like 1 or 2 key things for someone, because retention like that generally is kind of unheard of, right? For teams and for the real estate industry in general, even brokerages, right? Like, so what would be some things that you would say would be key moments that you were like, this is the key to that?
Yeah, if I could say that we offer anything as a real estate team, I think that every team and every brokerage offers the same thing. We just package it differently. We offer leads, leadership, and leverage. Those are the 3 things that we offer. And so certainly we offer leads. We have a great ISA program, inside sales agents. And so our company handles all of the company procured business. And then our agents are set and given opportunities to chase after their own sphere of influence and past clients. So we give those leads. The second is leverage. So certainly we have a great admin team, so our agents can focus simply on what they're best at. But the third and final piece is the leadership piece. And this is where it's different, Katie. This is where I think most teams will be different than us, is because I am dedicated, committed to, and invested in the success of my people so much so that I'm giving them what they can't get elsewhere. Because you can go and find leads and leads and leverage elsewhere, but you can't find the kind of leadership that we have, the kind of customized business development that we're offering to people. We now have teams within teams. We have these different evolved models. So it starts with a showing partner, and then it evolves into possibly another showing partner. These are salaried, licensed agents that are working alongside our high producers so that they can end up living the dream, right? I'm working less and making more. I think that's what almost everybody wants. And we help them crack the code on that. And then is saying, okay, now that they're vested agents within our company and in our ecosystem, how are we going to give them the chance to grow what I was able to grow?
Yeah.
Now, I've been growing a team for a decade now. And the sweetest time I ever had was when there was like 4, 5, 6, or 7 of us, because we all saw the whites of each other's eyes every day, and we trusted each other inherently. We rode the boat together. We fed off the energy of one another, and it was really well connected.
Yeah.
I think that large teams lose connection.
Yeah.
And they lose proximity with people. And so we said, if we want to go big with our model, we have to go small. And if I want to have a really big business, a really big team, a really big brokerage, a really big organization, and a really big life, I have to think, how am I helping the people on my team to have intimacy, connection, great, outstanding leadership, as well as opportunities that would be afforded to them only if they're in my environment. And so that's what we've done in a nutshell, and it has been marvelous.
Well, and so I really like that, leads, leverage, leadership. I think over your shoulder is your book, right? About
Yeah,
leadership
it
and
is.
servant leadership.
It is. Thanks for that
That's you?
shameless promotion. Yeah. This is a book I wrote back in 2019. It's called
You look so
Play.
tough.
Yeah, it's simply a look. I look like the chubby Carson Wentz here. Yeah, it's really great. So my
Don't do
book
that to
is called
Carson Wentz, man.
Carson's from North Dakota, so I had a chance to meet him a few times. A really good guy. My book's called Play for the Person Next to You. It's a servant leadership guide, and I'll tell you, Katie, I have sold tens of copies of this book. It has been
Yeah.
really impressive. I've sold thousands of copies, and it's been great. But what I can tell you about writing a book is if you write a book on servant leadership and you think, man, this is going to end up on every coffee table in the world. What I did was I tried to appeal to everybody, and I didn't appeal to everybody by doing that. I actually ended up appealing to people that were maybe already my fans or was already engaged in our network. And so that was all well and good, but I'm right now in the editing process of my second book. My partner Robbie T and I are writing something called The Perfect Real Estate Agent Blueprint. And we decided, instead of casting a really wide net about servant leadership, which I still think has massive relevancy in the real estate world, we're now focusing in on an exact blueprint that people can follow to have a huge, massive life in real estate. It's the story that I've lived the last decade of learning from those mistakes, because I think a lot of people want guidance from somebody who's already been there, and they want to avoid the branches hitting them in the face if they think they're going to blaze a trail. And Robbie and I have gone down the path, and I tell you, touching over 6,000 transactions as of next month, and helping to coach some of the industry's best people. I've learned so many lessons that are now giving people a blueprint and a path for how they can be massively successful in this industry.
That's awesome. I can't wait. When should that be released, do you think?
Well, gosh, now you're pressing me. We're in the editing phase right
Hard-hitting
now.
questions,
Our goal is to have it launched by June.
Okay.
Because it'll take about 90 days once it goes to the editor. So that's what we're gunning for right now. Fingers
That's really
crossed.
Cool. Did you ever think you would be a published author?
No, I minored in English for a semester in college until I realized that it involved like a lot of grammar and reading and that sort. And so I've always been a communicator. I love speaking. I love presenting and being in front of people. But writing things down always meant I had to slow down.
Yeah.
And that was a difficult challenge for me. But I feel like God has given me a voice, and I have a story to share, and I'm meant to shine. And so putting a book out there is really weird. And I write about it in my first book, Play for the Person Next to You, that it's ironic that I'm writing a book, because I feel like an autobiography is something that's pretty self-centered. And it's something that says, look at me, look at me. And my goal is actually to have everybody say, like, look at you, Katie, right? Like, how fantastic are you? You just hit elite within real. And that's
elite within real. I'm going to push
I
it right
didn't
back on you, man.
I didn't sell any houses. My team did, right? You hit elite out of the grind of what you're doing. And like, I want to be a chapter in everybody else's book. Like, I don't need to have this on my own amazing autobiography. I just want to show up in other people's books. And so I think that what I'm doing with these two books, and especially The Perfect Real Estate Agent Blueprint, helps you to change lives, including your own.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I really like to read. One of my goals every year is like, to read 50 books. This year it's only 30, because I was like, I want to make it, a goal that I'll actually hit. So hopefully I'll get that one on the back half of the year.
What's the best book that you've read recently?
So the two that I've read most recently that I really like are Tim Grover's Winning and Relentless.
I've read both. Yeah, they're super great.
So good. He spoke at the Tom Ferry Elite Retreat 2 weeks ago, and so in preparation for that, I was like, oh, let me get these books, read them, and learn more about him. Because like I knew who he was, and I knew the MJ Kobe, all that kind of thing, but I didn't really know a ton about him. And like the books were really good, and then hearing him speak obviously kind of like ties it all together, which is always nice. So lucky for me, I get to talk to you first and then read your books later. So,
Perfect. Yeah, it's the exact model that we want.
Yeah. So, when did you get into coaching? Because I know you own a coaching company as well.
Yeah. So I started coaching back in 2015, and I was with another company, and I was either fired after 2 weeks by a client, or I was revered, and they were like, no, this is the only coach I want. And the reason why is because so many people would come to this coaching company with a desire to be like, how can I sell 5 or 10 more houses? And I got no joy at all from talking about here's a technique and a tactic and a script and a lead generation tool that you can use to sell a few more houses. That for me wasn't life giving. I
Yeah.
wanted to talk about who are you fundamentally and how are you showing up? Like, what disciplines and habits do you have in your life that are keeping you healthy and helping you to be a great parent and spouse and friend and leader? And so we talked fundamentally about those things, and some folks were gobbling it up, and others like, I just want to find out how to make more money. And and for me, I think that a byproduct of health is wealth. And a byproduct of being really great with your disciplines and your habits is that you'll find financial and business success. And so I was worried more about the lead measures that we have than I was about the lag measures. I was worried more about the commitments than I was the actual outcome of it. And so that's been my coaching philosophy since I started. And now we've built a really great niche of a coaching company. We are serving about 500 people right now with our company. And we're doing so through a few different ways. We have a product line, and our product line is twofold. One is we have bolt-on services with some CRMs, from Ylopo to CR Interactive to Follow Up Boss to Chime. We allow our ISA team. Robbie T is my ISA partner and my lead generation and cultivation guru. He has taken the ability to take what I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on and put all of our ISAs into a package for people. And so you can have these add-on pieces into your CRM. That's like having our ISAs touch all your stuff. So we have that as a product line, as well as hundreds of courses that we have, online training courses, so people can get trained by us on a regular basis. And then we have our coaching line. Our coaching line is one-on-one coaching, group coaching, individual coaching, and then we have masterminds that people are a part of. And then finally, we do short-term boot camps. So we take individual topics and we give folks the opportunity to select and say, that's the thing that I need to learn more of. And it's a 4-week commitment for an hour a week. And so that's what we're doing with our coaching company right now.
Yeah, I like the variety in product, because I feel like for a lot of people, like signing up for a year of coaching is a very daunting thing, right? They're like, oh, I do need more on XYZ. So like signing up for a boot camp, gives them a taste of what coaching may look like and some skills that they could need to sell,
I always say
5 or 10 more homes.
Every good drug dealer gives somebody a taste right before they make them commit. And so
Yeah. That's
I've never
exactly
done
what I
drugs
think
in my
about real
life,
estate.
I've never done drugs in my life, but I think I know what I'm talking about, and I don't.
You said it. I mean, and it's similar to real estate. You said it with enough confidence that I was just like, oh yeah, totally. Like drug dealer, Erik Hatch, got it. Yes.
Yeah.
That took a turn.
Ministry guy, drug dealer, realtor.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Well, it's one of those things that's like the people that you least expect,
Mhm.
I kind of lost my train of thought here, and I'm not sure why, but so the title of the podcast, the name of the podcast, Erik, is Real Advice, right? So what advice would you give to a brand new agent just starting out?
Okay, if you're a brand new agent just starting out, you picked a heck of a year to start out in real estate. First of all, the times are tough. My advice would be that you should probably consider joining a team. Remember, a team offers 3 things: leads, leadership, and leverage. And if you're going to be successful in this business, it is a relationship business. And if you haven't forged the relationships prior to you getting into real estate, if you haven't been hyper involved in your community or in niche organizations, I'm thinking service groups or sports activities or church, whatever niche organization you have, if you just have kind of worked and not have spread your wings of a sort, you're going to be short on relationship capital. And if you're short on relationship capital, it sometimes takes purchased leads and purchased business in order to get you the momentum in order for you to service your clients exceedingly well. I remember this, Katie, when I started off in real estate, I thought, you know what? I know a lot of people, and so business is just going to come to me. I think of think of the person who was maybe a stay-at-home mom. I have somebody on my team that's this, so I'm going to tell her story. She was a stay-at-home mom for years. So much relationship capital with people. When she moved into real estate, just like when I moved into real estate, I thought, oh, now that I'm in real estate, everybody's going to come to me. Here they come. Watch
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
And she looked around just like I looked around years ago. And we're like, where is everybody? And we recognized that just because we had a real estate license still didn't justify us as being a realtor that is worthy of trust, because it's relationship capital first, but then it's also massive competency in the business. And a new person has oftentimes neither. And so when you're a part of a team, or you ingrain yourself with niche networks that allow you to elevate that, you now get a chance to tell not only your story, but the story of the team. I have a coaching client. His name is Jordan Terrell. He's with us at Real also. He's out of Denver, Colorado. And Jordan had a gal join his team. Her name's Rachel. And Rachel signed up to be Jordan's showing partner. So everything that Jordan sold, Rachel got to celebrate in and promote through social media.
Yeah.
And so this girl coming out of the shoe made it look like, oh my gosh, she's selling 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 homes in her first year. And she was a part of those transactions,
Yeah.
but they were Jordan's sphere. They were the things that he had earned. But Rachel got to celebrate that. And now, wouldn't you know, her phone is ringing consistently from her sphere because she's been a great storyteller, because they've seen her success. She had the relationship capital, and then she coupled it with the success and the momentum of her team.
Yeah.
If you are starting out and you don't have either of those, you have an uphill battle. And make sure that you are telling the story, not of look at me, look at me, look at me, which is the mistake almost every realtor, myself included, makes early on. And instead, you should be saying, look at you, celebrating the wins of those you have the privilege of working with.
No, that's huge. And I think that social media is tough, right? Like you go on social media and you see all these other real estate agents that are posting, how hot the market is, how many homes they're selling, all of these things. And like, you do need to share some proof of success and competency and all of the things, right? But it's like, it's a delicate balance. But yeah, joining a team definitely helps out with that. Are you drinking a beer right now?
No, I wish. Yeah, no, this is Polar. This is Costco's version of LaCroix.
Yeah, some sparkling water.
Pretty classy. I'm going to have a beer right after this just to even out my
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Keep you on an even scale there,
I mean,
equilibrium. I think
it
the
is
word.
8:30 in the morning as we record this. So
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. The reason why I ask is because I saw probably an entire van. I don't know how many beers there were delivered to your office.
yeah, that's right. So this week we have what's called date night. It is in conjunction with something called Giving Hearts Day. And so that is a city-wide, area-wide give-a-thon that happens all day long. And we want to, of course, support that giving. Over $20 million is raised in our community. It's pretty special. And in conjunction with that, we give everybody a date night package. So a large take and bake pizza, and then they can choose a 2-liter of soda, a 6-pack of beer, or a bottle of wine. And so we give them a date night on us. We have almost 2,000 date night packages that we're giving out this Thursday. And so it's a pretty wild day. And here's the fun part, Katie. Over half of the people that we give these date night packages to are not past or current clients of our company. They are instead people who are fans of ours or friends of ours. And so we're using it not only to thank those whom we already love and are in relationship with, but we're using that as a way to grow our business. And our vendors pay for all of it. And so we don't sell houses that day. I mean, some folks will hopefully sell houses, but we shut down our office. We give away a ton of stuff. Our vendors pay for it, and we get all the credit.
No, it was a pretty amazing. I was amazed by it, about the amount of beers that y'all had. So I'm excited to see the giveaway and things like that. I know y'all are very involved in the community. What I guess advice or tips would you give to agents, in getting involved? Because that's something that I feel very strongly about. I know you do as well.
So look at this promotion again. In my wonderful first book, Play for the Person Next to You, I have what's called a priorities pyramid. So if you're drawing out a pyramid on a piece of paper, you're going to have 4 sections, the top one being the smallest, the bottom one being the biggest. And so 3 horizontal lines going across. And on the base of that, I have God, family, and self. I think the 3 things that matter the most. And you have to give the majority of your attention, your priorities, everything else to that. And Katie, I'll say this, is I think that there's an irony in our business where people say, oh, I'm doing this for my family. when realistically we're spending so much time away from our family and away from the things that matter the most to us. And so I want to challenge people on saying, if you say you're doing it for your family, you have to reflect that with your time, because where your time is, that's where your energy and your passions really go.
Yeah.
Now, above God, family, and self, the next section up is team, that you pour into your team. If you don't have a team, you can skip this section. But ultimately, if you have an admin or a partner or whomever else, agents that are working with you, you have to give them more than you give everybody else, except for God, family, and self. Above that come your clients. And I went out to lunch with a realtor friend, a local realtor friend here in Fargo a couple of years ago. And he's like, Hatch, this is the year I finally put my clients first. I'm like, dude, that's such a bad idea. Like, you can't and you shouldn't put your clients first. That shouldn't be how it goes. Other things matter more than your clients. Now, at the top of that, though, Katie, is what you were alluding to, and that is your community and your involvement. And I think that oftentimes people rush to fill one without filling the other. And so I can't talk about the importance of taking care of your community without highlighting why it matters so much to take great care of those other things. But if you do it right, your involvement and engagement in the community is shared with your family, with your team, and with your clients. Our date night celebration is an example of that, right? We're involved in our community because we'll raise tens of thousands of dollars locally, just from our own site and what we're giving. We also are partnering with an animal rescue place where hopefully we'll get some dogs adopted on site. It'll be this unbelievable thing, and really, really excited for that. In our community, we serve regularly as a team. We have groups that go and do mission work. I started a nonprofit a few years ago called Sell a Home, Save a Child. You should check it out, sellahomesaveachild.org. My brother Nick Shivers and he's out of Portland, Oregon. He's not my literal brother, but he's bald and ugly just like me. And so I guess we'll be brothers. We had a passion to use our businesses to try to do more than just serve ourselves. And we wanted to serve kids and help rescue kids from the sex trade industry and rescue them from massive poverty. And we're doing that. We've raised over $3 million now in the last 7 years with Sell a Home, Save a Child. Like, getting involved matters so much, so long as you have your priorities in order. Make sure that you're serving the things that matter most. And when you do that, y'all get to serve together. And it is like a boomerang type of world that we live in. Whatever you throw out there is what's going to come back to you.
I love that. And definitely check that out. Sellahomesaveachild.org, right?
That's right. Yep.
Cool. Wrote that down. Good deal. When we first got on the podcast, we were talking about how we knew each other well from social media. And one of the things I wanted to bring up was I guess it may have been a Christmas gift, or it could have just been like an end of year gift, but the pseudo painting of you in like the royal clothing.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So was that a gift or what? How did that come about?
So I'm learning a lot about this now. There's a website that can take a headshot of you and turn it into like royalty, or you can be turned into a princess or a prince. And our coaching clients and friends, as well as people at Real, Mike and Rachel Novak, decided to gift my partner Robbie and I with turning us into royalty.
Yeah.
And it is the most lampoonish, buffoon-esque I've ever felt. Folks, I have it as my profile picture right now. So if you go to Facebook and look up Erik Hatch, that's Erik, Hatch like an egg, go and look at it. And it's so fun, Katie. I had no idea that I could ever be seen in such regal attire, but I can't unsee it now. It's how I picture myself every time I look in the mirror.
It's how I picture you every time I see your name on Facebook or Workplace. One, because it's obviously your Facebook photo, but whenever I think of you now, that's all I think about. So
thank
just
you. Yeah.
know when we meet in person, probably at a brokerage event later this year, I'm going to expect you to be wearing, your full regal attire. So just be advised.
Well, I usually always have my cape with me, so we're going to be good.
Well, good. I'm glad we're on the same page there. All right. I am going to hit you with one question. Actually, I have two more questions. So
Sure.
What do you think is a big disruptor in the industry right now?
Ooh, I could point to I could point to the market being so heavy, burdened with so many buyers and so few sellers. I could point to changing interest rates. I could point to Zillow and technology. But this disruptor is the same disruptor that's happened for a number of years, and that is laziness. I think that laziness from realtors is massively disrupting the industry right now, because the fat are getting fatter and the skinny are getting skinnier. That we are going to see, I think, a diminishing number of realtors. There's about 1.5 million in the U.S. The last NAR statistic I heard, and I think we're going to see a couple 100,000 of those drop off by end of year, because those that casually sell real estate can't compete anymore, because you have to be so skilled in this current industry in order to win a buyer. And that's where most people pick up their business unless they're seasoned. If you're seasoned, you tend to get the listings. And then we're also seeing some gouging of prices. Listings are going to be harder and harder to come by. And we're going to have a harder time defending our commission, because there's just been so much laziness of like, well, I can put a sign in the yard and put it on the MLS and pray that it sells, and that gets it sold, but it's not maximizing the profit for the sellers, because we're just seeing, I saw a post, I think it was on some sort of Instagram realtor feed that I subscribe to because it makes me chuckle all the time. And somebody said, hey, do you have any interior pictures of this house? And the listing agent said, no, I don't need it. And that listing agent was right. They don't need it. And they're like, the house is open from 10 to 5 today, and then we're taking offers after that. And that kind of energy, that laziness of realtors is a huge threat to our longevity as realtors. And it's a dangerous time right now, Katie, because it's easy, air quotes, right? It's easy to sell a house, but it is difficult to maximize. And we're seeing people choose the easy route.
It's interesting that you say that, and I saw that same post. But I also let me sidebar. I also failed to mention in your intro, and I actually wrote this down, that people may not know about you is your meme selection game on your story is pretty strong. So if y'all don't follow him on Instagram, he posts memes pretty frequently, and I chuckle at them most days. So thank you for that.
I try to be a combination of like inspiring and eye rolling all at the same.
Yeah. I'm like, man, I'm fired up. Oh, geez, so great job there. No, but we actually just talked about this in our last listing meeting of how we can really like actually start spending more money on marketing our listings, right? Because we're seeing in a lot of markets that we sell a lot of homes in, right? Some of them are farms, some of them we just been fortunate to sell a lot of homes in. Like, the inventory is at an all-time low, right? So if we know that we're going to be getting multiple offers on our listings, and we know there are going to be buyers that want more homes, then we need to be talking to more sellers, sending out more mailers, doing more open houses, and all of the things to get in front of more people, despite it being, such a busy market where you could, in theory, post a listing with no photos and do a 5-hour open house and get multiple offers. So that's definitely something that we want to, figure out the process better today, when we don't have to then when things slow down, we're already doing it and already have it tightened up. So completely feel you there. All right, I'm going to hit you with the last question. It's pretty difficult, so I'll give you as much time as you need to figure out what your answer is. But Erik, if it was your last meal on earth, what would you be eating?
I'm going to go to my happy place here for a minute.
Tulum, Mexico. Sorry, too soon.
Yeah, that is too soon. That cuts deep. My last meal on earth. So I'm all things appetizers. And so there's going to be a heavy amount of appetite. This is going to be a long meal, Katie. Like I'm talking hours and hours.
Do we have enough time for this response?
We do. Yeah, no. I'm going to lead with this. I'm going to lead with the most glorious plate of nachos you've ever had.
Okay.
Because I think a nacho is kind of pizza. It's kind of Mexican food, but it's all things, just a vehicle. Yeah, you've never heard a nacho referred to as kind of pizza, but it is kind of pizza.
But I mean, the ingredients and components are all there.
Yeah. So like I grew up as trailer trash. And so like I got to have my like rundown, rough, kind of cheap nachos, but give me some delicious nachos and I'm great. And then I'm going to have a delicious ribeye with an awesome crust on it, like cooked so well. And I'm
cooked so well to what temperature? What's your?
I'm a medium, but I need it like crunchy on the outside and like mouth watering on the inside.
Little sear, yeah.
Yep. And then you can probably sous vide it as well. We're going to maximize that flavor.
Yep.
And then I'm going to have some sides with it. I'm going to have like some tater tots because I'm classy. And then I'll probably have a vegetable with it as well, just to, even if it's my last meal, I need to show everybody that I'm super healthy. And
And
then
by vegetable, you mean like fried green beans or something,
yeah.
fried
I mean,
pickles. Yeah.
my tater tot was my vegetable.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna wrap it up with some cheesecake.
New York style, just classic, or do you have
Yep. I don't
okay.
need anything on it. Yeah, give me just a plain piece of cheesecake and then a scoop of vanilla ice cream, and I'm yours forever, at least for my last meal.
Well, and then, and then that's it. Um, that's a good meal. That's a good meal. It doesn't necessarily all go together,
Nope.
generally speaking. I normally don't get nachos as an appetizer at a steakhouse. Not generally. But I like
You
it.
wouldn't mind, Katie.
The Hatch steakhouse.
It's probably why it's not open, but yeah.
Yeah. Very short-lived.
And then I'd drink an old fashioned with it, and then I'd have some club soda with lime to really get wild.
Yeah. Okay. I appreciate the level of detail. I truly appreciate that. But Erik, thank you so much for all of your knowledge and great food. I don't even have a word to use, but all of your food knowledge as well. That's very much appreciated. Always fun to spend time. Glad we got to spend some one-on-one time.
Yeah, it's a
Looking
joy.
forward to hopefully meeting you later this year in person. And wish you all the continued success in the world.
Thanks, Katie. Appreciate you.